Okay, YouTube, what's going on? It's Mesa Sean back at it with some Destiny. All right, guys, time for some more Rise of Iron news. A massive interview with Scott Taylor. He is one of the masterminds behind Rise of Iron. Him and Christopher Barrett. He's actually in my clan, Rezo. Massive interview with Scott Taylor, which has a lot of juicy information, and we're going to go over it in this video. Now, the actual interview was published on Playboy.com, which I'll link in the description, but to save you the trouble of going to Playboy.com, I'm going to go through all the nuggets and give them to you. This is brought to my attention surfing Reddit. A Redditor, which I'll link that Redditor in the description, R. Cheddar posted this to Reddit, and I'll also link that thread. I know, lots of links in the description. He also pointed out some of the juicy information in there, but the more I read through this article, there's a lot of good stuff in it. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to throw up some images that Activision kindly sent me, some high-res screenshots from the Rise of Iron, and that's it. Let's stop babbling, Sean. Get into it. So now, if you didn't know already, Scott and Chris, okay, they were behind House of Wolves, okay, which gave us Trials of Osiris, which gave us a new social space, and also gave us the Prison of Elderly People, okay. This time, the Prison of Elders, we're getting a full-blown raid. So I'm going to read a bunch of this verbatim, but here's a really good quote paragraph from Scott himself, okay? We're excited about We Have Saladin is the focus of this release, and so I think that implies, we're bringing Saladin into PvE, but we have a real passion for PvP. So there's a new game mode coming out that we're going to talk about later this summer that's really, really fun, new maps, and the other thing from the House of Wolves, he goes, I think, quote-unquote, House of Wolves, is the only time that we introduced a new social space, and we're doing that again. With the social space, something we're really interested in is the fact that at the beginning of the game, you don't even know this is a social space because you're fighting in this area and clearing it out because there's bad things happening there. That's going to be Fellwinter's Peak. We're going to take that back. I'm assuming that's probably going to be the first quest we got to do once Rise of Iron drops. So after he said that, the interviewer asked, like, putting the patrol beacons on the Dreadnought, like a story mission that ties into the permanent change within the world? And he goes, yeah, that's interesting, yeah. So you're going to encounter a space that the Fallen are attacking, and you're going to clear it out. And later in the game, you're going to discover, you're going to be asked to come back to the space, and you're going to see that people are moving back into it now that you've liberated it. Okay, time to put our tinfoil hats on, okay? Another quote from Scott. Also, we're adding in the social space a few new rituals. What does he mean by rituals? That are going to be tied to our end game, and we haven't done that before either. So we're looking at building a social space as a really fun, interesting challenge because you don't want to replace the tower. The tower is the central area for all of Destiny, but you do want to create opportunities for new characters to join and for really specific storytelling moments. So Fellwinter Peak, which is our social space, really is a great hub for Rise of Iron. So what does he mean by rituals? I'm envisioning we're going to have some NPCs there. I wonder if Saladhead himself is going to be there, okay? Or is he still going to come back once a month to the tower for Iron Baron? I don't know. I'm excited about this stuff, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of that particular paragraph. Now, when it comes to storytelling, and hopefully they're going to tell the story not just through Grimoire cards, okay? In the game. Check this quote out. You're going to learn about what happened to the Iron Lords very definitively. We're going to tell that story. And so that's been really, really fun because it helps. I think some of the best experiences for me have been doing like the Thorn Exotic Quest. I hadn't played a ton of PvP. I liked it, but it gave me a reason to do it. And so it naturally integrated me into that, and now I play PvP a bunch. And so if you're primarily a PvP player, it's like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll try this and do this. And so it creates a nice organic flow between those two things that we think is really fun. But if you don't play PvP, it doesn't matter. You can still play this and you're going to learn about Saladin, and that's great. But if you do play PvP and you have this attachment, there's an extra layer of richness that, maybe not surprisingly, but it's really fun too. It's been one of the best parts about exploring this area, frankly, is paying those things out. So trying to decipher all that, I'm thinking that PvP and PvE are really going to tie in with each other to complete the story of Rise of Iron. It's not going to be solely PvE, folks, and it's not going to be solely PvP. We're probably going to have to do a little bit of everything to really iron out the story. No pun intended. I really didn't mean to say iron it out. Let's go, Sean, next. So the interviewer brings up about one of his friends texting him constantly on how do I hit 320? Well, obviously with the April update, it's 335. So he talks a little bit more about how the April update will be implemented. And I always said, guys, you put a full paid expansion onto the April update with the loot system, it's going to be phenomenal, guys. So here's another good quote that kind of ties in the whole multiple avenues to hitting max light, okay? So he says, what's been neat since Trials and since House of Wolves was the first time that we said, you don't want to play Prison, but you want to hit the level cap? Play Trials. we were trying to find different avenues. Destiny is at its best when you can decide how you want to approach it. Like, do you want to talk to your buddy and just patrol and not think about much? Great. So we have this Plaguelands, a whole new area with new public events and new patrols. Great. But no, I want to raid. I want to do something intense. Great, we've got a raid. I want to play Heroic Strike playlist and kind of in between. You know, there's going to be plenty of stuff. I think Destiny's most engaging when you have the suite of activities you can kind of, depending on your mood, play, because the other thing that's great about Destiny, when I think of the most fun I've had, it's usually related to a very particular experience I've had with a group of people. So what I decipher from that is basically it's just going to be like the April update in terms of hitting the level cap, okay? Multiple things to do. Like with the April update, I love the fact that if you're solo, you could still hit 335. You don't have to do the raid. You don't have to sweat it out in trials. You could do strikes. You could do Iron Banner. You could do a ton of things to hit the max light level, which we don't know yet for Rise of Iron. So then the interviewer brings up a little bit about Destiny 2 and the fact that it did get bumped to 2017. No, we don't have a date on that just yet. But also kind of discusses about droughts and how, we've suffered from some content droughts. We do get the live events from time to time. So he asks, so is there a framework in place to deal with those droughts and keep things going more consistently? So Scott says, well, if you think about it, we've been out for 18 months or something now. This will be our 4th expansion on top of things like Sparrow Racing League, Festival of the Lost, and Crimson Doubles. Then Scott goes on to say, post Rise of Iron, even though we're not ready to talk about exactly what's going to happen, I think it's safe to say we're going to continue to support the game. We love doing things like Sparrow Racing League for 3 weeks. So then the interviewer asks, is that going to come back? We're always talking about it, right? I mean, like, you put things like Crimson Doubles, Sparrow Racing, Festival of the Lost, the April update that had the Prison of Elders updates, we think it's really fun and dynamic to have the world, have things pop up. So yeah, we're always talking about those things and figuring out if we should or shouldn't. I think Sparrow Racing is going to come back, guys. When I was at the capture event for Sparrow Racing at PSX, Beach told me on record, he said, look, it's an experiment. If people enjoy it, the developers will go back and they'll make more maps. He said it was in line with Festival of the Lost. People really enjoyed it, and we'll probably see Festival of the Lost. So I think we're going to see Festival of the Lost come back at Halloween, obviously, and we'll probably get Sparrow Racing again sometime in December. So now let's talk about infusion, okay? All the stuff we have right now that's year 2 can be infused with gear from the Rise of Iron, whatever light level that is. I don't know how I feel about this, guys. I was kind of hoping we were going to go back to like when the Taken King came out. Everything was irrelevant. We got to start from scratch. But if you think about it, guys, when the Taken King came out, they made a point to not call it expansion. I think they'd get mad if people called it an expansion. It's not an expansion. It's year 2. Whereas with the Rise of Iron at E3 and any interviews, they nonstop call this an expansion. So hence why it's probably only $30 and not $40. But I was kind of hoping we'd maybe ditch our old year 2 stuff behind, I don't know. What do you guys think in the comment section? Are you happy about this? Me personally, I wanted a whole new set of weapons. So then he talks a little bit about Gjallarhorn coming back, okay? And he says, with Gjallarhorn especially coming back, we want people to be able to get it, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard quest. Then he goes, it's worthy of, you want the rewards to match the effort. That's the goal. And then he gets asked, are we talking Black Spindle hard? He pauses and he goes, Black Spindle, I really love that. I really hope we go back to getting some new exotics that involve those things where just 5 a.m., well, 5 a.m. for me. But when the reset hits, all of a sudden a new story comes up and we got to do something that relates to getting either like Black Spindle or even for that matter, the Sleeper Simulant. All right, now we're talking about unreleased exotics that everyone knows about. He gets asked, what about the other exotics that people know are in there, but they haven't been released yet? Are those going to come in the Rise of Iron or before that? If you didn't know, the Dune Marcher, Stagomizers, and a plethora of exotics, I did a video a while back, were in the armory, and then I believe when the April update hit, they all went classified. Now, the Thagomizers, Dune Marchers were all Cabal related in their looks, in their description, so that's why I thought we were getting some sort of Cabal raid. So then Scott's answer is the only exotic we're talking about now is Gjallarhorn. There's going to be new exotics that come out, but we're going to talk about those later. Then the interviewer asks, new exotics that people don't know about? There are new exotics that no one has ever seen or heard of, yes. Now, just some food for thought. One of my good friends, Raider XOF, he pointed out that in some of the Rise of Iron ads and copy and stuff like that, it says new exotic weapons. It doesn't say anything about exotic armor. I hope that's just like a misprint, or I hope I'm not reading too into it. I want new exotic armor. I want new exotic weapons. I want new exotics, everything. All right, so then the interviewer brings up old raids, okay? Old raids being brought up, okay? And it says, when do you think is a good time to bring back Vault of Glass and Crota's End? Not, quote-unquote, are you doing that? But when do you think would be a good time if you were going to? So I'm going to read Scott's reply verbatim. What I could say is that the same with Sparrow Racing and all these other things, like the raids being brought up. Those are things we talk about, obviously. for now, we thought it was better use of our time to make a new raid and to really spend time making that a great experience. Those are things we talk about, but we're not totally solid on exactly what we're going to do to support right after Rise of Iron. So no worries, guys. I don't think we're ever going to get those old raids back. I mean, think about it from a business perspective. You want people to buy expansions. You want people to buy new content. It's sad that people can come into year 2 or possibly year 3, and I don't even know if it's being called year 3 because this is not. They haven't said year 3 once. I know we've seen the year 2 triumph, moments of triumph thing, but the fact that we're bringing all of our weapons from year 2 into Rise of Iron doesn't feel like year 3. But I don't think we're ever going to get the old raids brought up and gear and everything. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's the meat and potatoes. It's a monster of an article. I'll link it in the description. Really good read. Check it out. And that's it. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on all of this stuff, okay? So that's it. Drop a like in this video only if you see fit. Follow me on Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream. Links in the description. Make sure you subscribe because I'm bringing you constant Rise of Iron coverage as soon as it hits. You guys know me. I'm usually the first one to get stuff out there because I don't sleep and I'm in babble mode. And only the true subscribers stay to the end. So hashtag made it to the end. That's it, guys. I'm out here like Vladimir.